I'm just gonna test real quick, test that sound, test that sound. Test Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I see that focus move in and out a little bit. We'll get that handled. Oh, actually, I think it's on different setting with that lens. Interesting. Hmm. Let me try something right quick, guys. We haven't started yet. We're gonna start at 8:15. 8:15. Uh, it's still doing it a little bit, but I did fix a little something. I can see it's still doing it. Weird camera, but it's okay. It is all good. I'm a little the audio screen bar is lower than 0. We It was telling me the audio is a little low. That's a little interesting. I didn't even get it all. I don't even touch the audio. Not really. It's always something. All right. So we got some stuff to talk about. All right. We got some stuff to talk about. Starbucks. We are green today. So the first thing I guess we can lead with is Linda. Oh. I believe this article is free. Y'all know I like to share my screen. Don't need to really have it on me. Feel free. I will probably put it in the description video. Don't start, but most people do that and jump to the gun on that. So, disclaimer. I always have to do a disclaimer. I'll just slide over there on the screen. All right, disclaimer: the videos presented here are for informational purposes only, and therefore, if you are to choose to attend the institution, please do your own research and consult with a specialist at your institution that you are interested in. I am not a financial aid specialist, academic advisor, or representing any institution. Speaking on behalf of Creator, Henry is only speaking from his experience. So, first things first. The education department drops an appeal of court order blocking anti-DEI guidance. So it sounds like they dropped the appeal in court, meaning that's a win for institutions who want to keep their DEI. I believe we're going to go through this article. I have not read this article yet, but I will cover it with my good people and how it relates to higher education and how does it matter to you. Some of you might not care. Some of you might say it didn't do anything. Hey, it's a lot of people out there that care about DEI. I didn't learn about DEI until college, grad school, to be exact. So they said right here that the First Amendment, not the education department, but I believe whoever is saying that, the First Amendment advocates and higher ed leaders are declaring victory, and some say it's the final defeat of Trump's attempt to rid colleges of race-based student supports. So if you know me, you know I spoke on that we have this thing in higher education that is called campus climate. And campus climate is usually for students who are a particular race. I'll use my race for example. That I was supposed to do a live stream on Dr. King, but we understand that Dr. King was a pivotal historical mark in our lives even before we was born. So it's nice to pay homage to him, the ones who are not headlined and just for examples, right? Or historical figures that look like us, that helps with the campus climate at a school who may not that helps with the campus climate at a school who may already be tailored to a demographic or a particular well, make sure we use the right word of choice, a particular audience. Yeah. And so every school, as I said, they transition to PBIs, even though they are predominantly white institution by creation. They normally turn into PBIs, Hispanic serving institutions, Native American institutions, Pacific and Islander institutions. Why is this helpful? Because some people love to be around their culture. You know, some people love to be around their culture. And there's nothing wrong with that. But some students don't realize that. And then they slip into a a place of loneliness when they go to college, which affects them on doing schoolwork, completing schoolwork on time, and many more obstacles, right? That's just not about finances sometimes. It's not about um partying. It's just not fitting in on campus with people that look like you. And that's a big thing today in college. So Education Secretary Linda McMahon and her legal team have dropped their appeal of a federal court ruling that blocked the department from requiring colleges to eradicate all race-based curriculum. Financial aid or race-based curriculum, financial aid, and student services or lose federal funding. So we covered this back in like the summer, back in like a little bit before fall, during fall. Well, not during fall because technically we was in school, but on social media a little bit, on the LinkedIn. And so as we keep going, it says the motion to dismiss was jointly approved by both parties in the case Wednesday. So they kind of sound like they mediated and both parties in the case Wednesday. So ending a nearly year-long court battle over the department's February 14th Dear Colleague letter. So if you don't remember that, I think they're going to take us to it. Linda McMahon wrote a Dear Colleague letter published late Friday. Acting Assistant Secretary for Civil Rights Craig Trainer outlined a sweeping interpretation of the Supreme Court's 2023 ruling in Students for Fair Admissions versus Harvard, all this good stuff, right? This when they were dropping stuff like left and right, when the big beautiful bill was coming, it was all this jazz, right? And I told people not to get too worked up, but some of this stuff still might get passed into 2026. So you still want to be mindful so you can know how to navigate this and deal with this, so you could potentially strive for a debt-free degree or potentially strive to pay as much money as you can on your education, on your degree. So if institutions did not comply within 2 weeks, department officials threatened to open investigations and rescind federal funding. So in response, colleges closed offices related to diversity, equity, and inclusion, scrub websites, and cut out other programming. That's what schools did. Schools were literally changing their name. As a student who was in school when this happened, schools were changing their names. Schools were like, some schools don't even worry about DEI, who don't really support it. Some schools have it on the website, but it's like any business page you might go to on somebody who's not really heavy in a business, and you look at the business and the business website hasn't been updated since 2021. And some college websites are like that. If you pay attention to the timestamp date on it, you will see that they haven't made any updates since like 2021, 2020-ish. Because I had to do actually assignment on that in school. And it was actually, just putting a realization like, oh, that's kind of intentional. They really don't have no updates going on. So it's really interesting. I like the little brown cardboard they got on here. So the First Amendment advocacy groups and the DEI leaders who remain in higher ed declared it a major victory, as we said, for public education. Democracy Forward, the legal group that represent educators in the case, went as far to say that, wow, you're pretty late. You are late. Yes, we are live. You are late, Outlook. You are late. So what we were saying? Let's just keep going. So this person right here, as you can see, Sky Perryman, president of Democracy Forward, said it should encourage those affected by the Trump administration's unlawful crusade, quote, unlawful crusade against civil rights, to keep fighting back. As we said before, we're nonpartisan. I highlight Trump administration when they are doing something like this before it gets shut down, and I'm highlighting it when it pretty much gets overturned. Because, as I said, you still have you might come with some side effects, but some downfalls, and not always up. But you have a voice if you want to say something about this. Most people don't really care about higher education like they should. Most people think it was something actually Dr. King said. Most people think when they get when people think they get a degree, they're thinking they're supposed to get some economic value out of it. But you're supposed to, don't get me wrong, but you're really supposed to get, I feel like with education, I could show the quote probably if I remember, if anybody reminds me. With education, really, I feel like you're supposed to take the education that you learn and give it back to the people who may not be able to get to it, be able to do it. So they can pass that education on to someone in their family who might have a better chance than them. All it takes is someone, like when I said, like when we actually live stream, was that today's Thursday. When we live stream on Tuesday, we watched that video of Dickerson College, and Dickerson College dean actually said that, was it Dickerson College? I gotta look up something. Yeah, Dickerson College. The dean of Dickerson College actually said, like, parents get caught up on the sticker price when half the time with the sticker price, they're not even paying the sticker price. And actually, one of my people who was in here at one point, hopefully they're doing okay. G will often say, like, when I dropped my phone. G would also say, like, at one point when he was at Columbia, I like to use him as an example, that schools with very high price, like tuition, like some people might look at it and say, yo, Columbia is charging like 500K for 4 years to go there, or 400K for the whole time of the whole attendance, my whole attendance there. But in reality, you're not really paying the whole 400,000. You're probably going to pay like 20 grand, if that, because they have a lot of resources, grants, financial need-based financial aid, and pretty much they seem like a school, and many other schools, this is an example, but one schools like that take care of their students. And it's just, they understand, like, if your family is in a certain income level, like usually I've been seeing 125,000 and below, but if your family is in a certain income level, you're just not going to pay that much money to go to college. Something I didn't know as an 18-year-old. Now imagine if your parent or your K-12 educator is seeing this and they're saying, really? So then that can help your student potentially, like, go to a nice prestigious school. That can help your school. That can help your school board. That can help your county. Valuable information, right? Something that, like I said, like I didn't know that at 18. Not saying I probably could have got in with my terrible SAT scores and stuff, but probably could have transferred there to finish up my bachelor's. That would have been nice to add and look pretty prestigious, right? And so probably would have helped with branding a little more too. People probably would have been like, "Oh my God, you went to Columbia, Harvard, or something." Like, yeah. But hey, everything happens the way it's supposed to happen. I don't know. I like this camera angle, but it's not showing my bachelor's degree a little bit. So as we keep going, it says the court filing did not explain why the department chose to abandon the case, and Ellen Keast, a department spokesperson, declined to provide any further comment. So we don't know why they dropped it. But Trump officials had argued that they were merely enforcing existing federal civil rights laws and the 2023 Supreme Court ruling that struck down affirmative action. They claim race-based programming constitution. No, they claimed race-based programming constitutes discrimination. That's what they claimed. But 10 days later, a coalition of education unions, a national association, and a public school district challenged the letter in court, arguing it violated administrative procedure law and institutions' First Amendment rights. Then, in August, federal district judge Stephanie Gaguler. Let's see something real quick. Stephanie A. Gaguler, if I said that right. A United States District Judge of the United States District Court. So, and they said she's a federal judge. Big dog. Struck down the department's guidance, arguing it ran afoul of procedural requirements and the regulation of speech cannot be done casually. Quote, the regulation of speech cannot be done casually. So, the fun part. Colleges and universities are are not entirely in the clear, though. Just days before the Maryland District Court issued its ruling on the Education Department letter, the Department of Justice released its own 9-page memo on DEI. We did cover a little bit of that. I think we did. I believe we did. I'm gonna say we did. And then, as you see, I'm going through it because they're talking about that letter. Then it says right here that guidance, which went even further than the Education Department's guidance, said that basing services on stand-ins for race like lived experience, cultural competence, and living in minority-heavy geographic area could also violate federal civil rights laws. In response, colleges have closed campus centers and publications catered to certain racial or ethnic groups. Still, many educators see this as a significant step forward, which it is a very significant step forward. So that means it sounds like your school, your college can keep these DEI programs. A lot of people can keep their DEI jobs, and a lot of people can actually use DEI if you need it. So that's pretty much it. Wasn't that long, but it was a good announcement. As you can see, not much detail. And then is that the conclusion? And then the last, this is a quote, but it says quote in quotations. I don't know where they probably said it up there. I know we scammed through a little bit. It says when you fight, you don't always win, but you never win without a fight. But you never win without a fight. So if you never fight, you never win. Said Randy Weingarten. I think we did speak on that person. President of American Federation of Teachers, one of the case's plaintiffs in the news release. We are proud that this case has once again halted the administration's pattern of using executive fiat, I think as I said, to undermine America's laws that ensuring justice and opportunity for all. So, with that being said, of course, you can read it more. I believe we hit on everything, but the most important part of it all was that the education department drops the appeal. And anytime you drop the appeal, because when they appealed, that was pretty much like a rematch or a retry, whichever term you want to use. And they rescanned it and said, never mind. It's like a win. So drinking tea, not coffee. So let's go to the next one. Let's go to the next one. Close that. Y'all can look at Stephanie right quick while I go through this and get this up of you. So remember when I said Virginia got a new governor? So Virginia got a new governor, apparently. Let me see. They got the whole article here, guys. I don't think they do. I want to show y'all, though. I really do want to show you. Let me see. I'm saying my muscles. I'm saying. The bigger question. So Virginia got a new governor. What is her? Did they say her name? Okay. Abigail. I'll put her on the screen. All right. So this is, can y'all see the screen? So Virginia got a new governor, Abigail Spanberger, if I said that last name correct. She is a Democrat. And when she became governor, pretty much, they said it didn't take long for her to make changes to colleges so quickly. Anytime you get a new governor, your board changes. The institute, like the system of Virginia, so University System of Virginia, and usually the technical colleges or community colleges in Virginia as well. And then Not only that, that's the system, then the institutions of those boards. So that university, like right now, they're talking about the University of Virginia, UVA. Most of you might know them as, I believe, the Cavaliers, like a orange and burgundy blue school, but they actually, how I want to put it, they actually, not they, she actually, but administration, Abigail administration, got rid of 5 people. So she made a lot of changes. So right here for them, she did 10 new appointees already getting to work pretty fast because this is, as you can see, breaking news. So, oh wow. So it's like, yeah, MAGA goes into full meltdown over their new dam billing. Governor Spanberger, if I said last name right, Lord, Governor Abigail declares state of emergency for Virginia. Oh wow. Oh, head of a winter. Right here. Actually, that's beautiful. Let me keep that up. So make sure y'all can see. So the governor, she appointed 10 members to the UVA Board of Visitors. And for my people who don't know, the University of Virginia is a very prestigious institution, supposedly. We actually talked about them a great deal in grad school. Only the highly respected institutions, we normally talk about, and learn about and study. So right here, Virginia Governor, y'all know who, Governor Abigail on Saturday announced on Saturday. So this must have been passed, of course. Yep, January 20th is when this was wrote, but it happened on Saturday. So on Saturday announced the appointments of 10 members to the University of Virginia Board of Visitors. The new members assume their roles Saturday. The appointments are subject to the General Assembly approval. So they have to go through the General Assembly approval. And these are the new members, supposedly, if it gets approved. As you can see their names. Carlos M. Brown Jr. Excuse me. And so, as I tell people, this is why going to college is so important. You shake hands with the right people, and you can be on the board of a college. As you see, Michael right here is a president and co-founder of, I don't know. I don't, let me see if this is all connected right here. Show you something right quick. So he is the president and founder. I never heard of this company, but he is the president and founder of, not president and founder, but president and co-founder, yeah, of this watch website that I'm about to go on right quick. I bet you're like, what are you doing? He's on his website. So like jewelry watches. If you want to watch, are they lavish watches? I don't know. But let's just look up men's watches, and they got nice prices, not luxury, not like $20,000, $100,000 watches, but he is a president, founder, CEO, I believe, of this company. And what does he have to do with higher education, right? Most people probably ask me because I'm on their website. And he got his bachelor's, and he went to this school actually. He went to this school. And so every person that I'm probably we're about to go down this list. Oh, I know that guy, Owen D. Griffin Jr. Yeah, he pretty popular. Where he at? That guy look really familiar. Every person we probably finna go down the list on has went to a college, if not prestige college. It doesn't really matter what college you go to sometimes. Of course, they like to usually they want to favor people who went to their college, usually. But I believe you don't have to go to their college unless that's their rule. Because but I don't think you have to go to their college. I think you do, because then like everybody went to this school at some point to be on this board, which makes sense. But as you can see, they all went to college, and we're about to go through it real quick. I was scanning through. So we got Carlos M. Brown Jr. He went to UVA. He got a bachelor's in arts and science and a Juris Doctor from UVA Law School of Law. College is important. Robert G. Bryan. He's of Charlottesville, chair, co-CEO, and co-founder of Blue Vista Capital Management. Byron holds a bachelor's degree from the UVA College of Arts and Sciences and a JD from the UVA School of Law. We got Peter M. Grant Jr. He went to UVA as well. He got his bachelor's in what? Bachelor's degree from UVA of College of Arts and Science and a master's in, business. Then we got Owen D. Griffin Jr. My guy went to a bachelor's degree. He got his bachelor's degree from the UVA. I really don't know how to pronounce that, but that's the last name probably of somebody. School. I'm gonna say McIntyre. The School of Commerce. He went to school here. And he got his master's here, it looks like, too, the UVA Darton School of Business. We got Victoria. She is a former executive vice president and chief financial officer of TechNet Inc. And of course, she got her bachelor's and master's as well. We got Elizabeth Hayes. She has her bachelor's and law degree. We have, I think, Rudane. And she has her bachelor's degree from the UVA College of Arts and a JD as well from the University of Texas School of Law. Highly educated people. We almost done. C. Evans got his bachelor's, master's, School of Business. And we got Seed. I believe that's how you say that. Moshin Seed. I believe I said that correctly. Don't get mad at me. But he is a senior advisor at West Executive Advisors. He holds a bachelor's degree from the UVA College of Arts and Science and a JD from the UVA School of Law. And sometimes, let's look, chat. Sometimes that's why when they were students, that's why sometimes people choose certain schools, universities, guys, because they so sensitive. They can easily transition to law school. For example, if they plan on going to law school, like they know at the end of the day, I want to be a lawyer, they can easily just slide over, and that helps get you early priority. Higher priority, early priority, whichever you want to use, you'll get priority over someone like me coming from Valdosta State trying to go to law school, and he's already in-house at their school. So sometimes that's why some people pick a school early, like a UVA or a certain school that has a law program, for example, or med school, because they can easily just slide over to that school with hopes of having a higher chance of getting in because that was their initial home school. Schools reward you for that sometimes. So, or in most cases, usually, because they know you understand the school's mission, motto, and system. On behalf of the university, they speaking on behalf. They want to welcome the new members of the board of visitors, and these are pretty powerful people. These people are going to be who the university president, who's ever the president at UVA. I believe they just got a new president. So it's very good for the new president that's there, because on the institutional theory / political theory, I swear it hits every time. UVA just got a new president. And now I believe he was Democrat, but now the governor of Virginia is a Democrat. And most of these people might have different political views, of course, but most of these people are likely to be inclined as Democrat. But now this is who the president of the college now essentially works for them and the governor. Because if anything happens at this school, like fights, constant shootings, or anything, right, it's gonna fall on the president, and then it's gonna fall on the board, then it's gonna fall on who? The governor. So the governor has to make sure everything stays in order, because then the governor gets in trouble. So the power of education. Potentially, if you know the governor, you could potentially get your way into this school if you are trying to go to the University of Virginia. Imagine if you meet the governor and you get a letter of recommendation from her. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. You talking about you gonna get in? That's a way to get into the school. That's some game right there. This is what they don't tell you. You talking about writing all these letters, hopefully get in. Like, yeah, if I had to put a percentage on it, if you're writing a letter to get into a school, it's probably like honestly from 0% to 25% of getting in. Writing that letter. Get the right recommendations though. Like trying to network your way to the governor, meet her, work some events with her. Like imagine the students potentially who was in high school or college getting ready for law school and they wanted to go to UVA law school, right? And they helped her on her campaign and stuff. They built a rapport with her and network their way into potentially getting a letter of recommendation from her. She knows the board. The board knows the president. Hopefully the president, whoever that admissions person, director or something, you know, scratch your back, scratch my back. I'm just giving you the game. I'm giving you the command chain, the ladder. And so when you know that, that helps you, that increases your chances of going to your dream school in a sense. But I also want you to go to a school that you can afford. I don't always want you going to a school because of want. I always want you to go to a school you can afford. But meeting her can increase your chances. For example, if you're in Virginia and she controls all the she controls all the university schools, all the universities in Virginia, all the community college / technical colleges in Virginia. Very important woman. Very important woman. So, and it's just like that in every other state. In any other state, it's just like that. And so they said what she did at George Mason as well. They said she changed George Mason. Let's see if they got a link on that. They said she changed George Mason as well. Let's see. George Mason got a new board. And they said she reshaped this on day one. That's actually, is that the article we're on? They said she reshaped that on day one. But, yep, right here. George Mason University. So George Mason University, Spanberger names 12 to George Mason Board of Visitors. So these are they 12. They didn't have the fancy pictures like UVA, but we'll take it. We'll take it. And so we got these names up here. These are these the new people? The governors announced 12 appointees to George Mason University Board of Visitors on Saturday. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I only counted 8. I didn't count 12 unless they're not highlighted. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I skipped another one. 9, 10, 11, 12. All right, they go to 12 right there. They just not highlighted. So they got a former congressman, Tom Davis, on their board. You see, like these are people who most likely, let's see, did they go to this school? Let's see, they went to this school. Ann Altman, Bachelor of Science Marketing 82, co-founder and CEO of Everyone Matters. Yes, so I'm assuming they did go to this school too. Let's see. Ann Altman, she's the IBM Corporation, yes, federal government. Yep, she earned her bachelor's of science and marketing from George Mason University. So most people, not most, if you went to the school, you're going to be on this board. I am curious how they select you. I am wondering how that happens because she had these names like, and I'm just wondering I'm assuming they provided these names, the previous board before they left. So most of these people, as you see, have went to the school in some form or fashion. So, like me being at the school I went to, actually, I wonder how that works. Since I went to two schools, can I be on two school boards? Two college ones? That's pretty dope. That's pretty dope. Didn't even think about that. So these are people important. If you want to know these people, you want to know these people. Just like stocks, you want to know the board. You want to know the governance of the board. You know the board for you, you can have a better chance of getting to your school you want. Imagine knowing that in high school. Imagine telling your counselor, hey, how can I, use the internet? Google like how to sign up for campaigns with these people, or see what these people have charity events, or figure out like if they might be at these events. Network. You have 4 years in high school to do this. You have an extra 2 years if you start at a community college, if you're still trying to get to that dream school that didn't let you in the first time. Just so important, guys. Just so important. And so as we keep going, let's see. Cuts. I think I'm not going to jump to cuts. So Morris Brown. So as we can see, Morris Brown reinstates their president. Now, I don't know what Morris Brown be having going on. I heard about the situation. I should have said it ain't gonna last long. I should have said it wasn't gonna last long. When they got rid of him, and then I did I did a basic search and said, wait a minute, Morris Brown lost their accreditation, then just got it back. Then the person who was under your leadership, and well, if you lose it while he was under leadership, you're gonna blame him. So you got it back under his leadership, he got to claim his rights. So this person, this doctor, he should be a doctor. Most college presidents are a doctor, especially university. But they don't really, for some reason, they just feel nice enough to call him Kevin James. But I think it's president. I think Morris Brown president has his doctorates. Let me check before I keep going. It irritates me a little bit. They don't call these people by their doctors, but they'll call an honorary doctorate doctor. Come on, man. We gotta do better out here. So let me see where he's at. Yeah, Dr. Kevin James. My point exactly. But let me leave it there. So if you don't know what Morris Brown College is, it's a historical Black institution in Atlanta, Georgia. I personally never heard too much. Like, I heard of the school. I never heard too much, good about it. I heard a lot of bad when I seen they got their accreditation back. And, I did apply there. I didn't get the call back, but it was cool. I wasn't tripping. Got the call back. Didn't get a call back. It's cool. It was cool though. It was cool. Wasn't mad. So Morris Brown College, a tiny historical Black institution in Atlanta, managed in recent years to bounce back from a brink of closure. Guys, we see this often. The HBCUs gotta be run good because they will close down. And I remember Morris Brown was going in the wrong direction. Really interesting to see what he did, because he did a couple of interviews with he did an interview recently. I don't know if he did one. He did one. She used to be on the Breakfast Club. I forgot her name, but he did an interview with her. I need to check that out and see if they asked him the right questions, and if he broke down like the changes and things he did to implement them getting their accreditation back. And so many more that I probably don't know about. And so I think more college presidents should do interviews as well on these platforms. The institution should pay the podcasts and stuff and do these, because it helps if you get to know a college president. It helps. You ask the right questions. Hey, what school you went to? What's your upbringing? What's your background? And then not only the students understand you and know you, because most of the time students don't know these presidents, man. Now this school might be different because school's small, like they said, tiny. But a typical university that's huge, people trying to get to know their president sometimes. It's getting to the point where students might students care if they meet their president or if the school cares about them. And yeah, it's always a refreshing feeling when you know the leadership. For me, it was. Now, what can you do if you don't like the leadership? You can transfer. Where? Please transfer somewhere in state. That's like, I like this school. Because some students do it a lot. Some students do it more often than you think. Some schools be like, not schools, but some students be like, I don't know, the school just wasn't, it just wasn't there for me. It wasn't really it. That wasn't really what I thought. So, and then it says, but when he got, since 2019, when they regained accreditation and boost enrollment, which is very good under his leadership. It said last week, James said in a viral Facebook post that he'd been fired without cause by the College Board of Trustees, which is pretty much the board. And then on Tuesday, the college said it came to a mutual agreement upon resolution to reinstate him. But it said after careful review, the board determined that Dr. James' separation from the college did not fully comply with the procedural and contractual requirements outlined in his employment agreement. Don't know what that means. Sound like some fancy words that we messed up. But as fiduciaries of the institution, in quotations, the board recognizes its responsibility to adhere to established governance standards and to correct the actions that fall short of those obligations. Because you know who this board has to report to? Let me see. I think they're private. Did they say private? I think Morris Brown is a private school. Why does that matter? Yeah, because that means they don't fall under the system of Georgia. Like the system, as we just said, like the governor picks the board. So I don't think, yeah, Governor Kemp then picked the board for Morehouse. I meant for Morehouse, for Morris Brown, meaning whoever it was gonna fall on, it was gonna fall on somebody, whoever is like over the school. And politically, it didn't look good at all. Because what you get rid of him, he raised the enrollment. He helped you get your accreditation back. And you got rid of him, so the school finna go downhill. You get rid of what people like, people leave, and that includes workers, students, family, and many more. So let's see. As it height, At its height, Morris Brown College was a cultural jewel in the HBCU world. The rap group Outkast named a hit song after the college, and its famed marching band appeared in the 2002 movie Drumline. So it said in 2002, the Southern Association of Colleges and Schools commissioned on colleges. So think of this, if you are a stock market person, think of this as like the SEC. This is accreditation system, which is very important, which has me, when we talk about the Trump administration and some institutions trying to change the accreditation system, which means they can influence you on what you should take if they go under a different accreditation. Some things we talked about, haven't really been hearing much about the new accreditation system. It's some like North Carolina, Georgia, Tennessee, I believe Florida, those type of institutions been talking about changing the accreditation, but nothing has been progressing that I heard of about it. But that's who that is. Those are the big dogs who oversee the institution and many other institutions. And so they stripped Morris Brown of his accreditation after his president was involved in a multi-million dollar embezzlement scandal. They said without accreditation, enrollment plummeted from 2,700 students to less than 100. Guys, yeah. When your school don't have accreditation and people catch on to that and learn about accreditation, it's so important. That's why I talk so much about accreditation to you all. Then we're gonna do our school review. And I actually do Morris Brown since it's so popular right now. So I gotta hurry up and get that video out. Might have to cut the Arkansas. So it's so important when your school has an accreditation, and it's important to know if they're about to lose their accreditation. Really important. If you hear anything lingering about a school about to lose their accreditation, you might want to talk to the highest person you can at that institution and record the conversation or get something in writing, because that can delay you so much. You thought you was delayed by not taking your classes and registering on time. That would delay you so much that it's not funny at all. It's straight to the point. You can be delayed so much on you can be delayed so much on, like, you can be a sophomore and then you just now hearing that your school's about to lose their accreditation going to your junior year. When you try to transfer, depending, like, honestly, I would hope the school that you're transferring to accepts the credits and be like, oh, they accept my credits. Too late. You can't renege on me and say, oh, this school's not credited no more. Everything's about timing. And that's why this channel is so important, because as you see, when Morris Brown didn't have their accreditation, it dropped to less, they said about 100 or less than 100 students. Seriously. The professors are probably not strong because the professors only want to work somewhere where it's credited. Professors don't like working, like, that's the whole point sometimes, getting that scholarly professor who know what they're doing. Some might not care and still have giving you great information, great schoolwork, helping you learn. But sometimes it's not worth it if your degree can't go nowhere. Because even some jobs say you have to have an accredited degree. So now I'm wondering when you got your degree at this school when it was not accredited, does your degree become accredited again? That's a good question. That's something I need to ask and find out. That is a good question. Now, that is something I'm wondering. And so it said the college filed for bankruptcy in 2012, and then sold several parts of its campus to pay off its debt. They're liquidating. And then several of the campus buildings sunk into delitism, including the historic academic hall that housed the former office of the Black intellectual and sociologist W.E.B. Du Bois. Huh. They housed the former office of W.E.B. Du Bois. That is dope. Really? That housed. Yeah, because W.E.B. Du Bois, for many don't know, he went to W.E.B. Du Bois went to Ivy, I believe. Yeah, he went to Harvard. They went to like Columbia and stuff. No, he went to Harvard. He was a Harvard person. Yeah. Very brilliant, very brilliant. Have I read one of his books yet? I have not read one of his books yet. But yeah, very brilliant man. Learned about him in graduate school as well. More in depth, let me say that. So it says under James' leadership, staff restored some campus buildings, launched an aggressive fundraising campaign, and applied for accreditation. By 2022, the college had regained accreditation from the Transnational Association of Christian Colleges and Schools and restored students access to federal financial aid as of the fall of 2024. So it seems like they got their accreditation from who they said right here, which is not the same accreditation before. So if you try to transfer to a school that have this accreditation, if you are in Georgia, if you try to transfer to a school that got this accreditation, possibly your credits might not transfer over. So you'll have a better chance of transferring to a school that has the same accreditation as this one. And so they said right there, and then restore students access to federal financial aid, because when your school's not accredited, In some cases, you don't get access to financial aid, so then you have to pay out of pocket, which makes it like, so why do people go to the school still? Because people don't know. That's why we speak on their behalf, because they don't know. Everybody's on Instagram, everybody's on Facebook, everybody's on these other social media platforms, but nobody is seeking this information. And so that's why we tell you that when you go to a school that's not accredited, you don't have access to no resources. You're literally going to be going to a private bank or something. And then now you're going to be in the PLA, a preferred lender arrangement by the institution. Now you're going to have crazy interest rates. Now you're going to be borrowing money from a bank instead of your financial aid if you do need to borrow money. Not encouraging, just saying, like, hypothetically, it's how it happens. So, and then according to the department, and then it says as of fall of 2024, the college enrollment stood at 432 students, according to the Department of Education. And so, again, after his firing last week, he wrote on social media that his contract ran through 2029. It's 2026. He got 3 more years, and raised concerns that the college disregarded governance practice. Wooty woo, wooty woo. He back. And he did go, like I said, did some interviews, and then pretty much thanking Morris Brown and a healing journey, and he's back. So this was written by Jasper Smith, staff reporter at the Chronicle, with an interest in HBCUs, university partnerships, and how race shapes college campuses. Good, right? Good. That was a good right. So that was important. That was important. Let me see. Focus screen, focus screen. I'm looking at the screen, make sure it looks pretty good to you. There you go. So that was very important. That was a few things I want to talk about. Not gonna keep the screen as long. I want to try something a little different. We're gonna do Morris Brown before we go. Morris Brown College as a review. I believe we did it before. We just probably didn't clip it, most likely. Some of these gonna get redid because, of course, you couldn't see it, and I love for everybody to see. I love for everybody to see things because that's important to see it. We're not gonna need that. We're not gonna need that. So let me see. Let me see. Let's just close that out. I don't need that now. All right. Perfect. So I think what the college scorecard should do when a school is not accredited, they probably won't do it. I could try right into them or however I need to communicate it. But I feel like I need to tell them, like, they should put like a little, hey, this school doesn't have, this school needs to, not this school, but colleges that don't have accreditation needs to be posted somewhere as a warning sign. I feel like that'd be a good warning sign for students. So we're gonna talk about Morris Brown College. It's so popular right now. So as you can see, Morris Brown College, you see all the students on the web page. I love showing web pages of schools. You know, brings me joy. This is Morris Brown College, a very small school. They have their students, they have their items. It's Morris Brown. So, Morris Brown College. They have 338 undergraduate students. That is a very small number. I think they lost some students. Just to keep this in mind, I work at a community college, and we got almost about 12,000 students. So, like I tell students, like I tell people, just because you go to university doesn't mean your school is huge, and but some people like that small knit college, and it's working for this school, so can't argue with it. But just because a school might be a community college or a school might be a community college Does not mean they don't have more students than a university. Our mission is just different, and we can operate efficiently if we did want more students, but we have to keep a certain range of things for certain reasons, right? So I just want to throw that out there. So they're a 4-year private nonprofit. They're in the city. They're small. They are a special destination. They're African, ooh, African Methodist. Let me see that. They're gonna get me. I can hear my. Ooh, I pronounced that wrong. Let me see. Because I said this before. Because a lot of schools, that's how they're founded back in the day. Guys, really? I guess they don't. I think they just think everybody can pronounce stuff. So this is Methodist, African Methodist. That word, historical Black college and university. So a lot of colleges, fun fact, a lot of colleges were founded to be a church first back in the day, because as we know, especially African Americans, that was the way to go to school, to get educated in the church. Oftentimes, you know, it was a form of reading the Bible was a way to learn how to read because it had words in it. You know, read the Bible, work on your reading skills, and so a lot of times, a lot of schools were formed out of that. A lot of times, that's where school was held in little like shacks, wooden cabins. Like it didn't take much to make a school, right? I know we all might say we know, some people don't know. And so schools like this and a lot of other schools were founded like this. And so they have a graduation rate of 39%. That's not very good. That means 39% of the time you are 39% of the time to not graduate. That doesn't meet the midway point. That doesn't meet the 58%. They have an average annual cost. Oh man, they don't have their earnings on here. That's not good. But excuse me. So they have an average annual cost of about 19,000 for the year. Let's go check their actual school website. So tuition, unfortunately, they made it real easy and accessible to find. Remember, you can use that magnifying glass if you need it. But right here, we're just gonna go to tuition and fees. So right here, we're looking at their tuition to go to Morris Brown College. Morris Brown College per semester. I like how they did that. They already said, look, you come here, it's gonna cost you about $4,250 per semester. I love that. That's simple to see. So that means easily what $4,250 times 2 is what? 4,000 plus 4,000 is 8,000. So that's 500. So $8,000 and 500 is how much you're looking at for the year. Where is my phone? Shoot, that's 34,000. So you're looking at 34,000 for 4 years. If you graduate in 4 years when you go there, but you have to understand that more students graduate in 6. I always have to keep that in mind. And then you have to factor in these other fees. I did not include these other fees. So they're charging you for what? They charge you for the books and supplies, of course. They charge you for all the parking fee. They charge you for technology, enrollment, graduation fee. But graduation fee should be like one time. But you got these other fees that you have to factor in, depending on what you're going to school for as well. So, oh, they got some down here that say the total cost for, yeah, that's what we said. Look, 8,500. That's what you're looking at. And then these are other things, but we're going to say your tuition is 8,500 for a bachelor's program, right? And you factor it in. We just said, look, that's exactly what we had on our calculator, 34,000. We had about 34. We had 34,000. They added these other ones, and it still came out to 33 or 34, which is very good. That's very good. But you can budget your own living expenses. Please, you have to know how to budget, guys. In order to strive for a debt-free degree, you have to know how to budget. You have to know how to budget. If you don't know how to budget, it's going to be hard for you to get a debt-free degree. So as we keep going, they're even talking about refund of tuition and things like that. We go back here. So what does that mean? It's like, whoa, that's way cheaper on the on their school website. Maybe they're factoring in room and board. Maybe they're factoring in meal plans. I don't know. But they're factoring it. They could be factoring in those things if they have them. Do they have housing? Let's see. I don't see. Yep, they have housing. They have meals. So yeah. So maybe they're factoring those in to say, look, you're gonna be paying about 19 grand a year. Now, if you live in the area, and we'll go back to our strategy, but this school is in the heart of Atlanta. So you're in a large city. You probably should, if y'all don't remember, we could do it again. But remember, we talked about large cities and how they have to charge certain prices in tuition because they're where they're located and their competition sometimes. And the depending like the amenities and things. So if you go to a school that's in a large city like Atlanta, Georgia, you have to upcharge your prices. Like it's rare. It's a good chance you can find a school that's going to be affordable there, like 2-year college and a small state college. But remember that this school is private and they're HBCU. Normally HBCUs run a little more pricier depending which ones you go to. And so you have to factor these things in. And so they don't even have a return on investment on their website. I don't know who to blame, Department of Education or them for not submitting that. I don't know. So both get blamed. They both would get blamed because I'm like, if I go here, what's my potential salary in 10 years after leaving? So, I do want to know those things. But right now, me, I base it on if I was going from a 2-year to a 4-year, and I'll break that down at the end. So they have all this right here, your average annual cost based on your family income. They got the graduation. We talked about the graduation rate. So 56% of the time, students return after their first year. 56% of the time, that's not good. That's an if. So after 56% of the time, students after their first year at Morris Brown College, they leave. That's a lot. That's fast. That means a lot of them leave. Now, I don't know if this is on this website. If it wasn't updated, the school wouldn't have popped up usually. So financial aid, they say they don't even have the median total debt after graduation. They don't have the typical monthly loan payment. Students receiving federal student loans is 58% of the time. That makes sense. For some reason, HBCUs oftentimes don't have, I would say I don't know if it's HBCUs or this college. I can't even say HBCUs. I'm gonna just say this college in this instance. This college probably doesn't have a lot of resources, I'm assuming, to help you get aid to pay for college because 58% of the time students are pulling out federal loans. And like I said, they probably didn't update it yet because that could have been when they wasn't accredited. They don't have the earnings. Again, they don't let you know how much you're going to make after leaving this institution. So, some key things missing out of this. A lot of key things, guys. A lot of key things. Remember, the diversity is a historical Black college university, HBCU. So, in itself, you should know what the demographic will be. All African Americans / Black / Americans, however you identify yourself, right? But that's pretty much the campus. But remember, you can always take a tour. It's in Georgia. Remember, always go to school in state if you want to go here and go see the campus for yourself. Go see the dorms for yourself if you stay on campus. Remember, I always recommend don't stay on campus because dorms are just not worth it. You can get a better deal staying in an apartment with roommates and don't be responsible. Get your own wash machine, get your own bathroom, get your own room. That was me when I transferred to Valdosta State University. And then test scores and acceptance, they have 100% acceptance rate. I figured because remember the school was at one point not accredited, so they needed students to keep the institution up and pumping. And so pretty much if you apply there, you're going to get in. So after rating, I'm not gonna rate them based on the data that's not provided, based on because I understand their situation, but I'm going to rate them based on their tuition and prices here that I got pulled up. So would I transfer to Morris Brown College if I was leaving the 2-year college? The answer would be no. Simply because they're charging me 8,500, as they said, and we put it in a calculator. They're charging me 8,500 for the year. Remember your financial aid. I feel like I had the highest financial aid for the year. If I didn't, but like I said, 7 grand for the year. 7 grand divided by 2. So I only get 3,500 per semester. I would still have to pay some money out of pocket. What is like I said, it's like 4,250. So I still owe extra $1,000, maybe 2,000, because the fees got to include. And that's a little bit extreme for a school that I don't know my return on investment. I don't know what jobs I'm going to get for going to this school. And so, I can go to some better schools for sure that can assure me, based on my situation, my family dynamics, that I can get a great return on investment to help better my life. When I rate schools, so as we keep going, with that being said, I rate this school like a based on their prices and the location of the school. It's in the city of Atlanta. It's in the heart of Atlanta, like it's in Atlanta, Georgia. I actually rode by this school before. And so yeah, I would rate them because they on the come up. They had some good news. They got their accreditation back. But honestly, the school is a F. Um, for us, anybody speaking on behalf, if you are around our age trying to go to school, trying to get your degree, you gotta be careful, man. They just got the accreditation back and they're still fresh. We don't know what jobs their students are landing. We don't know much. I don't know much personally. And I don't have nobody reaching out trying to clarify anything about the institution so they can get their name, the street cred up. Because we just talking about what's happening on campus. That's what I'm gonna start calling. Instead of the hallways, like what's going on campus? Let us know. What's the word on campus? What's the word on campus? Ain't nobody telling us, so we just going based off what we trying to save money in college. Save money in college, make money in college, and do it the speaking on behalf way. So, with that being said, yeah, I'm gonna rate them an F. Um, yeah, wrong one. And so, guys, I don't really, like I said before, I say this all the time because you never know. I might have somebody new come in on the live screen and they probably don't know who I am or my perspective on things. I don't care if a school is a HBCU. I don't care if it's a PWI. I don't care if it's a Spanish serving institution. I don't care about none of that because I gotta get the best school that's gonna save me the best money coming out of poverty. And I didn't even have scholarships. I was blessed to have the Pell Grant. I was blessed to have Hope because I'm in Georgia. But I had to create something special, something different, something that can help me save a ton of money in college. And it wasn't gonna be because I went to HBCU. It wasn't gonna be because I went to a whatever school that you can think of. It was because I had to really dig in, lock in, and learn tools that will help me blow it out the water so that I can save money and make money in college and do some simple investing and some great budgeting because it's hard. It's hard to strive for a different degree if you don't have a strategy. And it's hard to just have fun in college, eat good in college. Like I ate the cafeteria food in college for free. I know people who went to universities got me in, and it's not worth the money that I would pay. Like I can get better meals from mom, especially if I stay home. I can get better meals from family if I stay home. I can get better meals at Christmas. I get better meals on holidays. I can get better meals. Learn how to cook a steak and stuff, not that hard. baked chicken in the oven. I can get that cooking on my own. So yeah, and that's all for tonight. Just hour 15 strong, and we'll be back tomorrow, guys. So if you stop by, I appreciate everybody who stopped by. I need to post these on LinkedIn so everybody know we've been live streaming and spread the word. Speaking on behalf, man. You know, we was trying to get something done. We talked about a few topics. We didn't even talk about all the topics, but hey, just watch it. It can save you a lot of money. Start a 2-year bridge to a 4-year. Stay off campus and don't get a meal plan. And you do that, go to a 2-year, 4-year, you can afford under the articulation agreement. Save you a lot of money. See y'all tomorrow. Peace. Chicken grease.